Humans don't fight wars because they'd win too easily. Professor Vitak's declaration rang through the seminar room, his deep, metallic voice tinged with disbelief and a hint of admiration. The words hung in the air like a challenge, and the room fell utterly silent, save for the faint hum of the ventilation system. Rows of alien students, hailing from a dozen star systems, exchanged puzzled glances. Their varied features, scales, shells, fur, or metallic exoskeletons, reflected the diversity of the Galactic University of Old Torah, a hub of interspecies learning and a beacon of intellectual pursuit. Yet, for all their advanced knowledge and cultural pride, none could quite make sense of the professor's statement. The seminar room, famous for its rigorous debates on interspecies ethics, had hosted discussions on everything from resource allocation to first contact protocols. However, today's topic had veered into uncharted and controversial territory. The idea that a species might abstain from war, not out of weakness, but out of sheer dominance, was both fascinating and unsettling to the gathered students. A young STHN warrior, Coke, with pale blue skin marked by intricate, curling patterns that denoted his rank as a warrior novice, finally broke the silence. His hand rose, his tentacle-like fingers twitching with agitation. "Professor," he began, his tone both skeptical and confrontational, "surely you jest. Humans avoiding war. This is the species that wiped out entire ecosystems on their planet, ecosystems vital to their own survival, just to grow food more efficiently. Their history is filled with violence and conquest. Why, then, would they suddenly restrain themselves now, with the galaxy at their fingertips?" Professor VTAC, a towering Zorian with a sleek metallic sheen to his segmented skin and eyes that blinked in perfect unison, leaned back in his chair. His demeanor was calm, almost amused, as though he had anticipated such a reaction. "Ah, young Coke," he said, his many eyes fixing on the STHN student. "Your skepticism is understandable. Allow me to explain." With a wave of his hand, VTAC activated a holographic display. The air between him and the students shimmered, and a three-dimensional image of Earth materialized, rotating slowly. Its vast blue oceans, lush green continents, and swirling clouds were a stark contrast to the dry, metallic sheen of Old Torah. "Humans," VTAC began, "come from a world of abundance, but also of treachery. Their planet is a crucible, a place where survival meant constant struggle, not only against their environment but also against one another. For millennia, their history has been shaped by cycles of conflict, innovation, and resilience. Yet, despite, or perhaps because of, this legacy, they have reached a point where they often choose not to engage in war, even when provoked." A murmur spread through the room, a ripple of disbelief and intrigue. The students found the notion difficult to grasp. In their minds, war was a natural extension of a species' desire to dominate, to secure resources, and to survive. To avoid it, in their eyes, was a sign of weakness or madness. "But why?" Coke pressed, his voice rising slightly. "Why would a species with the capability to obliterate planets restrain itself? There's no honor in that. There's no logic." Vitak's eyes gleamed with intensity. "It's not about honor, Coke. It's about mercy." The word landed heavily in the room, foreign and almost blasphemous to the students who had been raised in cultures that glorified strength and conquest. Another student, a thick-shelled Kron with a voice like grinding stones, echoed the term incredulously. "Mercy? Mercy is a weakness. It is a failure to seize power when the advantage is yours." "For many species, yes," VTAC agreed, nodding. "But humans view it differently. They possess the power to wage wars of utter annihilation, yet they choose not to. Not because they lack the will or the strength, but because they value something else, a sense of responsibility, a reluctance to cause unnecessary suffering." The holographic display shifted, showing scenes from human history. Battles that had raged across continents, devastating weapons of immense power, and, finally, moments of reconciliation. Treaties signed, hands extended in friendship, cities rebuilt from the ashes of war. Throughout their history, VTAC continued, humans have learned a hard truth, that the cost of war is often too great, not only in terms of lives and resources but in the toll it takes on the soul of their species. They have come to understand that with great power comes great responsibility. For the students, the concept was almost incomprehensible. War, for many of their cultures, was not merely a tool but a defining feature, a proof of dominance and survival. Yet, here was a species that seemed to defy this logic. VTAC elaborated, describing how human fleets, when arriving at contested planets, often sought diplomacy first. Imagine this, he said, a human fleet arrives, its technology unmatched, its soldiers highly trained. They could decimate the opposition and claim the planet with ease. Yet, they sent diplomats instead, offering trade agreements, cooperation, and mutual development. Even when attacked, they defend themselves but refrain from retaliation. They subdue, but they do not destroy. In doing so, they gain allies rather than enemies. Coke shook his head, disbelief etched across his features. But why? Why would they risk being seen as weak? Why would they not simply take what they need? Because they understand, VTAC said softly, that the true strength of a civilization lies not in its ability to destroy but in its ability to build, to create lasting bonds, to elevate others instead of subjugating them. Mercy, Coke, in the long run, is far more powerful than fear. The room was silent again, but this time the silence was contemplative. Vitac's words challenged the students to reconsider everything they believed about power and war. As the session concluded, Coke lingered, his mind racing with questions. Over the following weeks, he immersed himself in the university's archives, studying human history, their wars, their alliances, and their philosophy. He pored over records of battles fought with precision and restraint, of treaties negotiated even in the face of betrayal. Finally, unable to reconcile what he had learned, Coke sought out VTAC in his office. "Professor," he began, "I've studied their history, their psychology. I see what you're saying, but what if their mercy leads to their downfall? What if their enemies grow stronger and overtake them?" VTAC leaned back, his many eyes thoughtful. Coke, that is the question that haunts many. But you misunderstand. Humans are not naive. They are well aware of the risks. Their mercy is not born of ignorance, but of calculated wisdom. They understand that a galaxy ruled by fear and aggression is a fragile one. By fostering cooperation, they build a network of allies who share their vision. And should a threat arise that cannot be quelled by peace, humans are always prepared. Make no mistake, they are capable of great violence, but they wield their power with precision, using it only when absolutely necessary. Coke's skepticism began to waver, replaced by a growing respect. "So," he said slowly, "their mercy is a strategy, a long-term vision for survival." VTAC nodded. "Indeed, and that, Coke, is what makes them truly formidable. Their strength lies not in what they take, but in what they give. Mercy, Coke, is not a weakness. It is the ultimate strength, the wisdom to choose peace over conquest, creation over destruction." This revelation would stay with Coke as he embarked on a mission to observe the humans firsthand. What he witnessed, a display of unmatched power tempered by restraint, cemented his understanding. The humans' commitment to mercy and cooperation was not a weakness, but a profound strength. As he returned to his people, Coke carried with him a newfound perspective, one that would shape not only his understanding of the humans but the very fabric of interspecies relations. In the humans, Coke saw a lesson for the galaxy, that the greatest power is not in destruction, but in the courage to build a better future.